by what we've seen, but hope to see more commitment to having institutions work. I think for me that would be nice.
Okay, Hadija.
Many things are in place, but I want to see implementation.
Mainstreaming local content will turn around industrialization in Uganda.
This is the word that is going to be around for a long time. Local. Back. I think the only person who's running away is Richard here, but the things we may not have captured in the budget. Just maybe. We don't know whether there will be any other tax measures. Any other tax measures here. Just maybe we will be looking out for that. So let's quickly listen in now, and we will be back immediately after the budget reading to dissect one or two things the President will have said or the Finance Minister. Let's listen in.
Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness have appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of humanity, we beseech you to look upon with your abundant favor these your servants, whom you've been pleased to call to the performance of such important trusts in this land. Let your blessing descend upon them here assembled, and grant that they may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under their deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as promote your honor and glory, and to advance the good of those whose interests you have committed to their charge. Amen.
Item 3 on the order paper, proclamation by the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament of Uganda.
Proclamation. Whereas under Article 95(2) of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, a session of Parliament shall be held at such place within Uganda and shall commence at such time as the Speaker may by proclamation appoint. And whereas the President of the Republic of Uganda has indicated to the Speaker that he will present the national budget for the financial year 2017-2018 under Article 101, Sub-Article 2 of the Constitution and Rule 101, Sub-Rule 4 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament. Cognizant of the fact that the financial year 2016-2017 will end on the 30th day of June 2017, and aware that it is expedient that the President addresses Parliament and the nation on the national budget for the financial year 2017-2018 at the Kampala Serena Conference Center. Now, therefore, in exercise of the powers conferred upon the Speaker by Subclause 2 of Article 95 of the Constitution, I hereby proclaim that Parliament shall sit at the Kampala Serena Conference Center on the 8th day of June 2017 at 1400 hours to receive presidential address on the budget for financial 2017-2018. And further, in exercise of the powers conferred upon the Speaker by the Constitution and the Parliament Powers and Privileges Act, Cap 258, and the Rules of Procedure of the Parliament of Uganda, it is hereby proclaimed and declared that the said Kampala Serena Conference Center, including its forecourt, the yard, and the gardens, with the places of Parliament for the aforementioned purposes, given under my hand at Parliament House, Kampala, on the 11th day of May 2017, Rebecca Kadaga, Speaker of Parliament.
Item 4 on the order paper, communication from the Chair.
Your Excellency, Mr. President of the Republic of Uganda and Mrs. Museveni, also Minister of Education, Your Excellency, Vice President, Mr. Sekandi, my Lord the Chief Justice, Bart Katurebe, the Deputy Chief Justice, the Honorable Vice Chair of the NRM, Your Highnesses, the traditional leaders, Right Honorable Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Ministers, Ministers, Leader of the Opposition, Ministers of State, Judges of the Courts of Judicature, Honorable Members of Parliament, the Chief of Defence Forces, Inspector General of Police, Commissioner General of Prisons, the Governor of the Bank of Uganda, leaders of political parties, religious leaders, and the business community, and all our invited guests. Your Excellency, last Tuesday we sat here for the opening of the second session of the 10th Parliament, and they delivered to Parliament an address on the state of the nation. Today is another important occasion in the parliamentary calendar as provided by the Constitution. I welcome Your Excellency and all the dignitaries in your various capacities to this occasion. We expect His Excellency the President to cause to be presented to Parliament estimates of revenue and expenditure for financial 2017-2018 as provided for under Article 155(1) of the Constitution. As members may recall, during the occasion of the State of the Nation address, the President outlined the achievements registered in the preceding year. He indicated some plans and programs and the priorities of government to be undertaken this financial year. He also indicated the legislative business Parliament is expected to receive from the Executive for consideration and approval. The President's intentions outlined in the State of the Nation address are to be translated into action by the provisions of the budget, which is to be presented today. Later, Parliament task will be to evaluate whether the pronouncements made in the State of the Nation address match with the financial provisions in the Budget Act and then advise accordingly. Your Excellency, I believe honourable members anxiously waiting to hear what Your Excellency has to say through the Minister of Finance. However, although this is a day for the budget speech, I would like to invoke my powers under Rule 24, Sub-Rule 1 and Sub-Rule 2 to permit the Minister of Works to present for first reading a critical piece of legislation which it is intended that should be handled expeditiously. Let me therefore invite the Minister of Works to present the bill for the first reading.
Item 5, Bill's first reading. The Civil Aviation Authority Amendment Bill 2017.
The Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament, Honourable Members of Parliament, I beg to table the bill entitled the Civil Aviation Authority Amendment Bill 2017. I beg to lay.
Certificate of financial implications.
Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament, Honourable Members of Parliament, I beg to lay the Certificate of Financial Implications. I beg to lay.
Honourable Members, the bill is sent to the Committee on Fiscal Infrastructure for expeditious perusal and report back. Thank you.
Item 6.
Item 6.
Item 6, presentation of the budget speech by His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda in accordance with Article 1012 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda and Rule 10(4)(a) of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament.
May I now invite the Honourable Minister of Finance to present the budget.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, the First Lady and the Minister for Education and Sports, Your Excellency, the Vice President, the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament, Bibao, His Lordship the Chief Justice, His Lordship the Deputy Chief Justice, the Right Honourable Deputy Speaker of Parliament, the Right Honourable Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Deputy Prime Ministers, the Right Honourable Leader of Opposition, Honourable Ministers, Honourable Members of Parliament, Your Excellencies, Ambassadors and the High Commissions to Uganda, ladies and gentlemen. Honourable Speaker, in accordance with Article 155, Part 1 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, I presented on behalf of His Excellency the President the budget for financial year 2017-18 to Parliament in April. In line with the Public Finance Management Act 2015 as amended, the budget was approved by Parliament on 31st May 2017. I salute Parliament for that noble job they did. You can clap for yourselves. I'm now honored to present a statement outlining the highlights of the approved budget. Madam Speaker, in my presentation today, I will 1. Report on the state of the economy and spell out the immediate and medium-term strategies that will stimulate our economy and propel Uganda into a middle-income status. 2. Update Parliament on the performance of key selected sectors in the financial year 2016-17 and the priorities for the next financial year. And finally, 3, highlight the financial year 2017-18 revenue and expenditure framework and measures to enhance domestic revenue mobilization. Madam Speaker, Uganda's development achievements provide a renewed confidence in the NRM government's strategy to transform Uganda from a peasant to a modern and prosperous country as stipulated in our Vision 2040. In this regard, according to the latest statistics, many Ugandans are living longer and better lives. Let me give you a few examples. 1, life expectancy today is 63 years, up from 46 years in 2022. You should clap for that. You are living longer now. 2, literacy rates for adults now stand at 74%, rising from 68% in 2002. 3, 79% of the population now accesses safe water compared with only 59% of the same period. Can I invite you to go to UBOS and get these statistics, please? Honorable members, please, they start to not show ignorance of things. 4, immunization of children.
Order, members, order, please.
Immunization of children against measles is now at 82%, up from 62% 15 years ago. Listen to this. 5, per capita incomes in real terms have more than tripled to $773 in 2016, up from $250 in 2002. And this is despite an increase in population from 26 million to 36.9 million people. Madam Speaker, despite progress on these socio-economic outcomes, a lot more needs to be done. The per capita income has been growing at only 2% annually compared with the population growth of 3% annually. This needs to be reversed. This needs to be reversed. There is growing unemployment, especially among our youth. We are increasingly faced with prolonged droughts as a result of partly environmental damage arising out from destructions of the wastelands and deforestation. Land fragmentation is another challenge. Agriculture, the mainstay of the vast majority of Ugandans, is now at risk because of excessive reliance on rain-fed farming. These challenges require immediate redress, as you will hear. Madam Speaker, as such, government plans to turn around the economy by enhancing agricultural production and productivity, as well as increasing the pace of industrialization. For example, the virus of climate change will be tackled by, among others, fast-tracking irrigation. Even irrigation by bottle is irrigation. Take a note of that. I am a farmer, I know what I'm talking about. As regards industrialization, government will, first and foremost, vigorously promote agro-processing and mineral beneficiation. Through this double-pronged approach, we shall be addressing the problem of unemployment. It is for these reasons, therefore, the theme for the financial 2017-18 budget is industrialization for job creation and shared prosperity. The state of the economy. Why don't you wait and I tell you? These are friends of mine from the opposition.
Honourable members, you will have time to discuss these matters.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for protecting me, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, before I report on sector performance and spell out the priorities for next financial year, let me give an account of the state of the economy as it stands today. Which are the factors that have affected Uganda's economic and social progress and may impact on our future prospects? There are global factors. The global factors that have negatively impacted on our economy include the following. 1, slow economic recovery in Europe. This has translated into lower demand for our export commodities. Don't you know that? 2, then if you don't know economics, please leave that matter to us who know. 2, economic recovery in the United States of America. This has led to a reduction in capital flows to Africa as investors prefer to invest in USA markets. 3, rise in interest rates globally. This has resulted in a high cost of capital and borrowing. We have got also regional and domestic factors that have affected our prospects. Madam Speaker, regional and domestic developments that have affected the state of the economy include the following. 1, civil conflicts in parts of the East African region. These has disrupted export markets to our goods and services. Additionally, these conflicts have led to an influx of refugees into Uganda, putting pressure on our social amenities. You don't know that as well? Effects of climate change and environmental degradation. These have undermined food security and economic growth. 3, high interest rates and non-performing loans. This has constrained private sector growth. 4, undue delays and inefficiency in execution of government programs and projects. These have dampened anticipated positive impact on the economy. Now 5, which you won't like to hear and you think we are not handling it. Corruption. This has held back projects and programs in some sectors. This disease has turned into a cancer, which has hampered service delivery, and we must find a solution and cut it off, including you people. We know what takes place in Parliament. Please, let's not wash our dirty linen here. That is a subject for another day. Madam Speaker, despite these challenges, Uganda's economy is not, and I repeat, Uganda's economy is not despite these challenges, Uganda's economy is not, and I repeat, is not in recession, but is only growing moderately. The size of the economy this financial year is projected to rise to 90.5 trillion Uganda shillings, which is an equivalent of 25.7 billion US dollars. This represents a real annual growth rate of 3.9%. Although this is lower than the target growth of 5.5%, Uganda's performance is higher than the average sub-Saharan African growth rate this year, which is estimated to be only 1.4%. We are doing very well compared with others, but we are not going to sleep because we say we are doing very well against others. Growth in agriculture output slowed to 1.3% this year compared to 2.8% in the previous year. The main reason being the unusually prolonged droughts. Industrial sector growth also dropped by 3.4% this year as against the 4.7% last year. This is because of contraction in mining and quarrying activities. The construction subsector also slowed down. Growth in services also slowed down to 5.1% compared to 5.9% last year, as a result of marginal growth in trade and transportation and contraction in financial services. But on a positive note, aggregate demand, while subdued, has grown to 2.7% this year compared to 1.0% last year. Madam, the financial sector remains well capitalized. Uprising in 2013 led to increased non-performing loans, which peaked at 10.5% of total loans in December 2016, but have gradually reduced to 6.3% at the end of March 2017. Madam Speaker and the honorable colleague members of Parliament, Uganda's external and domestic public debt amounted to $8.7 billion as of 31st December 2016. In nominal terms, this is equivalent to 33.8% of our GDP. However, when future debt payment obligations are discounted to today's value, our public debt to GDP ratio is at 27%. Could those who have been saying that we are borrowing carelessly Madam Speaker, can I be protected from...
Honourable Minister, please concentrate on your speech.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you. This is much lower than the threshold of 50, beyond which public debt becomes unsustainable. Listen to this, honourable members. Uganda's public debt, therefore, is sustainable over the medium to long term. Reserves, exchange rate, and inflation. Madam Speaker, international reserves at the end of December stood at the end of December 2016 stood at $3 billion, equivalent to 4.2 months of imports of goods and services. This is close to the target of 4.5 months of import cover to be achieved in 2021 as agreed in the East African Monetary Union Protocol. Madam Speaker, the exchange rate has remained broadly stable for much of the financial year, averaging at 3,532 shillings to the US dollar. Madam Speaker, inflation remained within single digit at 6.8 despite pressures from food prices. Now I turn to the economic outlook and growth strategy. The future economic outlook. Madam Speaker and members, Uganda aims to graduate to middle income status by 2020. Average incomes or GDP per capita will therefore need to rise to US dollars 1,000 39. Given a population estimate of about 40 million people by 2020, the size of the economy will need to grow by an addition of $17 billion for us to attain that target. In order to attain this target, the following must be done. 1, immediately reorganize the agricultural sector to increase production and productivity. 2, address the impact of climate change to eliminate reliance on rain-fed agriculture and protect and restore our environment. 3, harness the huge tourism potential that we have got. 4, aggressively industrialize the economy anchored on agro-processing and extraction of minerals, oil, and gas. 5, reform the financial sector to provide long-term capital and reduce interest rates. And I will tell you how we are going to do this. 6, speed up execution of government projects and programs. Then 7, ruthlessly deal within the law with the corruption of some elements in the public service that frustrate investments. Madam Speaker and colleagues, as a result of these actions, the economy is expected to rebound to an annual growth rate of 7% in the medium term as the minimum. I would love to beat more, but I think when I take into account parameters, maybe the President will guide me on this one. If we can go to 7%, that would be excellent. Madam Speaker, in summary, our economic growth strategy, therefore, rests on 4 pillars. And these are: 1, increasing production and productivity in the key primary growth sectors, which are agriculture, tourism, and minerals, oil and gas. 2, industrialization through value addition. 3, enhanced private sector development. And then 4, increased public sector efficiency. Now let me turn to production and productivity in key primary growth sectors. Madam Speaker and colleagues, the primary sectors where Uganda has competitive advantage are agriculture, tourism, minerals, and oil and gas. The key primary sector challenges in the agriculture sector, which provides food security and export earnings, in addition to creating gainful job opportunities for Uganda youth and women. These are the challenges. Climate change arising partly from destruction of wetlands and deforestation, I've already said that. The consequence of this is prolonged droughts and in some cases floods. 2, low survival rates of distributed seedlings currently estimated at about 40%. This is the result of poor quality inputs, the mismatch between input distribution and planting seasons, weak extension services, and excessive dependence on rain-fed agriculture. 3, inadequate post-harvest handling infrastructure that accounts for over 30% loss of our production. 4, inadequate compliance with and enforcement of standards right from the farms to the processors. 5, high cost of financing for agriculture enterprises, which some agricultural products being charged interest rates as high as 30% per annum. 6, lack of coordination among institutions in the agricultural sector. Madam Speaker and dear colleagues, Uganda has a huge tourism potential, but is constrained by poor infrastructure to access these tourism sites, inadequate skills in hospitality, and low visibility to attract national and international tourists. In addition, tourist products are underdeveloped and protected areas suffer human encroachment, with wildlife endangered by illegal hunting and trade. In the mineral subsector, the current problem is the fragmented legal framework. This partly leads to low investment. As far as oil and gas are concerned, key projects such as the oil refinery and East African crude oil pipeline need to be fast-tracked. Strategic interventions, Madam Speaker. In agriculture, measures to address challenges I have mentioned will include reforestation, restoration and prevention of wetlands destruction, and enhancing irrigation. In addition, reorganizing the procurement and distribution of planting materials for better quality and timely delivery is a must. In tourism, measures include increased promotion and marketing of tourist products and building skills in the hospitality industry. To promote commercial production in the mineral subsector, the legal framework will be reviewed to improve governance. As for the oil refinery and the crude oil pipeline project, this will necessitate a fast-tracking in order to produce the first oil by 2020. I will elaborate details on these priority actions when I delve into sector priorities. Industrialization through value addition. Madam Speaker and colleagues, Uganda's industrialization will be anchored on agriculture, agro-processing, and value addition. Linking agriculture to industry is the strategy in which the economy will be transformed to deliver inclusive growth and development. The strategic objectives to achieve the industrialization strategy are the following. 1. Promoting processing of agricultural raw materials. 2. Building linkages between agro-industries and farms. 3. Adapting farmers to meet industrial and market needs by increasing production of quality raw materials in sufficient quantities. 4. Developing agro-industrial clusters in agroecological zones. Doing a wonderful job. You should emulate him. We should emulate him in our constituency. Madam Speaker, these industrialization strategy objectives will be met through the following actions. Agricultural zoning as already defined by the Ministry of Agriculture. Support to innovation by building a critical mass of highly skilled ICT, science, technology, and engineering professionals to drive industrialization. I have therefore provided 43 billion to establish an innovation fund, of which 13 billion will finance talented youth in the IC sector. Provision of fully serviced, demarcated industrial and business parks. This means provision of adequate electricity, water, telecommunication, starting with Ruzira, Jinja, Namwambe Bakasa areas. Even Arfanya Busharka. 4. Skills training, business incubation, worker spaces provision. You heard what the President said the other day. Work spaces provision for our youth and financing of SME product start-up kits. This will promote value addition by small and medium-scale enterprises. Private sector development. Madam Speaker and colleagues, the private sector, as we all know, or we ought to know, plays a key role in production, trade, export promotion, and employment creation. Concerted efforts by the heads of state of the Northern Corridor has eliminated non-tariff barriers along the corridor, consequently reducing the cost of doing business and improving trade. For example, port transit and border clearance times have been improved significantly. Clearance of goods at Mombasa port has been reduced from 13 to 5 days. Transit time for goods from Kenya has been reduced from 4 to 2 days. It is now taking on average of 4 hours to clear through the Malaba customs, compared with the 24 hours previously. We should clap for ourselves. When we have done very well, we should clap for ourselves. You can stamp. Can I help you? Can I start? Key private sector challenges. Madam Speaker, on the downside, however, private sector activity has slowed in the recent past, with a number of businesses suffering distresses. The key causes which we shall address include the following. 1, continued accumulation of domestic arrears by government departments. 2, limited access by the private sector to credit and its high cost. 3, low savings and absence of long-term financing. 4, insufficient local content, especially in major infrastructural projects. 5, high cost of electricity and transport infrastructure that makes manufacturing expensive and our exports uncompetitive. What are the strategic investments or interventions, Madam Speaker and honorable colleagues? To deal with the challenges to private sector, government will undertake the following measures. 1, domestic arrears. In order to provide an immediate boost to the economy, shilling 300 billion has been allocated to settle domestic arrears. This amount will be released in the first quarter of next month, next year, which is next month. I have also established a hotline at the Ministry of Finance for suppliers to report delays in payment of approved and verified bills. Government departments that delayed payment for goods and services supplied by the private sector for more than 14 days will have to have their future releases withheld until such a payment have been made. The business community should be sharing that one. It is not theory. When Kasaja speaks, please, you never speak theory. Access and cost of private sector credit. In order to increase the private sector's access to credit and reduce its costs resulting from crowding out the private sector from credit markets, government will reduce domestic borrowing from 2% of GDP to 1% of GDP in the short to the medium term. To provide for new financial products, the Financial Institution Act has been amended to provide for, among others, Islamic banking and agents mobile banking. Enhancing domestic savings. The reform of the pensions and insurance sectors will be expedited to mobilize domestic savings for long-term capital. This will also enhance financial inclusion. To promote savings, enhance inclusion, build the confidence of the public and the good conduct of microfinance institutions, including SACCOs, money lenders and credit institutions. The Microfinance Institution and the Money Lenders Act was passed to regulate their activities. And I thank you, members of Parliament, for having acted first on this law. Availing long-term credit, availing long-term capital. In our continued effort to increase the availability of long-term capital, I have provided an additional 50 billion to the Uganda Development Bank Limited for capitalization in the next financial year. This will bring the total capitalization of Uganda Development Bank Limited to 150 billion, the target being 500 billion. Additionally, government recently guaranteed a US 26 million loan equivalent to 93 billion Uganda shillings from the Islamic Development Bank for on-lending by the Uganda Development Bank. Madam Speaker, implementation of the local content strategy will be enhanced with a Buy Uganda, Build Uganda initiative. To allow local contractors, let me repeat this. Madam Speaker, implementation of the local content strategy will be enhanced with the Buy Uganda, Build Uganda initiative to allow local contractors to participate in infrastructure projects and other key government investment programs. This will require amendments to the PPDA Act, for which consultations are being concluded. Madam Speaker and colleagues, to improve private sector competitiveness, government will speed up execution of ongoing projects in the energy and the transport sectors. Public sector efficiency. Madam Speaker and colleagues, government will continue to improve public sector efficiency and eliminate corruption through the following actions. 1. Amend the PPDA Act to eliminate delays in procurement. 2. Take a disciplinary action against accounting officers who either intentionally or out of negligence delay procurement processes. 3. Integrate public information database using the national identification number as the reference in order to improve efficiency and effectiveness in service delivery. 4. Enforce the preparation and implementation of sector strategic plans. Let me repeat this. Enforce the preparation and implementation of sector strategic plans. Quarterly releases of funds commencing with this coming financial year shall be tied to the implementation of these strategic plans. Please, the accounting officers who are here, hear me very well on this matter. If you don't know that we can bite, we shall bite this time. Adequate preparations and appraisal of projects before funds are allocated. Build the capacity across hakuna mchezo. Build the capacity across government to improve project cycle management. Create a database of bankable projects in line with the National Development Plan. And finally, undertake annual project portfolio review to assess project portfolio execution and provide timely remedial actions. Now I turn to the sector performance and priorities. Madam Speaker and colleagues, I now turn to the performance of key sectors for financial year 2016-17 budget, details of which are contained in the background to the budget for financial year 2017-18, which I gave you in Parliament. I will also spell out priority actions and allocations that have been approved in next financial year's budget. Agriculture. Madam Speaker, during the year, actions in agriculture sector have included distribution of inputs under the Operation Wealth Creation. We have also done marketing infrastructure development. We have rehabilitated of major irrigation schemes. Planting materials distributed include 72 million coffee seedlings, 148 million tea plantlets, 10 million citrus seedlings, and 6 million mango seedlings, and 4 million cocoa seedlings. In addition, 7 urban markets have been reconstructed, and works on 11 additional markets will commence this coming financial year under the Market Improvement Program, which is called MATIP. To further improve market access, 11,000 kilometers of new community access roads were constructed, covering 90 districts and 158 sub-counties. 77 rural markets were constructed in 35 districts, and 297 agro-processing facilities were established under the second Community Agricultural Infrastructure
Improvement Project, which is abbreviated as KAYIP 2. Madam Speaker, during this year, an additional shillings of 23 billion was allocated for recruitment of agricultural extension workers, bringing extension staffing levels to 78%. I have allocated a further 39.6 billion next year to increase the effectiveness of agricultural extension in improved delivery of the Operation Wealth Creation Program. Madam Speaker, the priorities in the agriculture sector next financial year are as follows. Government is in addressing the adverse effects of climate change, commencing construction of 5 irrigation schemes. The irrigation schemes are Mobuku 2, 480 hectares in Kasese district, Doho 2, 1,178 hectares in Butaleja district, Wadelei, 1,000 hectares in Nebi, Tochi, 500 hectares in Oyam, and Ngenge, 808 hectares in Kwen. In addition, designs for irrigation schemes will be completed in Achomai River system in Bukedia and the Ata River system in Kwen and the Bulambuli districts. Madam Speaker, government will also continue demarcation of wetland boundaries targeting 320 kilometers and restore 300 hectares of critically degraded sections of wetlands in 117 local governments. Madam Speaker, solar-powered water irrigation systems will be established in all the 9 zonal agricultural research and development institutes as a pilot before replicating and rolling out across the entire country. I have provided 23 billion to construct 520 valley tanks to increase availability of water for agricultural production at the farm level, with areas affected by the recent drought and food shortages being given top priority. Government will also pilot fertilizer provision to a target of 10,000 farming households using subsidized electronic vouchers, for which I have allocated 14.6 billion for pilot fertilizer application. Shillings 297.6 billion has also been allocated to fund continued distribution of planting and stocking materials. Madam Speaker, in order to encourage value addition to agricultural products, government will support investment in milk and other dairy products, oil palm, oil seed, and cotton. Furthermore, the equipment for medium-scale fruit processing, motorized maize meal, equipment for medium-scale fruit processing, motorized maize milling, rice milling will be purchased and distributed under the NADS. Under the Cotton Development Organization, I have provided shillings 4.4 billion for a new cotton seed processing plant to be established in the Padere district. Government will also increase productivity by implementing the following interventions. 1. Supply the establishment of post-harvest handling storage by private sector together with the cooperatives at parish level. No, support, let me repeat. Support the establishment of post-harvest handling storage by private sector together with the cooperatives at parish level. 2. Expand bulk water irrigation infrastructure to major lakes and rivers and tackling climate change through afforestation, prevent wetland destruction. We've talked about that already. 3. Roll out the agricultural insurance scheme across the country to subsidize agricultural insurance premiums for both small and large-scale farmers. 4. Strengthen security of land tenure by formalizing land ownership and household acquisition of titles. Promotion of agricultural exports. Madam Speaker, unleashing agriculture's potential can eliminate Uganda's trade deficit currently at 2.3 billion immediately, addressing commodity-specific constraints faced in coffee, tea, fish subsectors alone, can triple exports earning from US dollars 615 million today to US dollars 1.8 billion annually. In this regard, the government will implement the following priority actions in coffee, tea, fisheries subsectors. The coffee subsector. In the coffee subsector, government will rehabilitate the existing 320,000 hectares of coffee with the fertilizer application and irrigation, while intensifying agriculture extension for proper management of the 260,000 hectares of new coffee planted between 2009 and 2015. Generate sufficient disease-resistant colonial coffee plantlets in order to mitigate the coffee wilt disease. Mobilize smallholder farmers in 2 groups to work with the key market traders to meet export market demands and sustainably unlock the coffee value chain. This will be done in partnership with the private sector organizations like the National Union of Coffee, Agribusiness, and Farm Enterprise, NUCAFE. And lastly, support the establishment of a coffee processing plant at Namamve Industrial Park to initially process 26,000 metric tons of green coffee beans into instant and other final coffee products. And this is expected to add an additional $160 million into our coffers. Madam Speaker, these actions will more than triple the national average coffee yields from the 600 kilograms per hectare today to about 2,100 kilograms per hectare. Talk of productivity. Coffee exports will consequently rise to about 9 to 20 million to 12 million 60 kilogram bags by 2020, more than doubling Uganda's earnings from coffee export to at least 1 billion from the 400 billion of today. I have allocated 53 billion next year to purchase and distribute coffee seedlings. The tea subsector interventions. Madam Speaker, in the tea subsector, government will work with the Uganda Tea Association and other private stakeholders to increase productivity of tea farmers. Priority actions include mobilizing smallholder farmers to access high-yielding colonial tea varieties and increase extension services with emphasis on increasing the fertilizer usage. These actions will increase the average smallholder farmer productivity from 1.5 metric tons per hectare today to at least 2.5 metric tons per hectare obtained in the tea estates. Ugandan tea also needs branding and so marketed to increase returns from international tea auctions. Currently, a kilo of Uganda tea earns only $0.50 less than Kenyan tea because of the absence of Uganda branded tea. These actions will lead to 7-fold increase in the coverage of tea planted from 28,000 hectares today to potentially 200,000 hectares, and consequently increase export from 60,000 metric tons to more than 400,000 metric tons in the medium term. This increase would earn Uganda more than $500 million annually in tea exports alone, compared with what we are doing today, $80,000 million. Next financial year, I have allocated $6 billion for construction of 3 tea factories in Kisoro, Kabale, and Zombo. In addition, 2 billion shillings will be provided for Kayonza Tea Factory to set up a 3rd processing line. Shilling 36.8 billion has been allocated specifically for purchase and distribution of tea seedlings. Madam Speaker and friends, in fisheries subsector, productivity can be increased by employing new fish farming technology, such as aquaculture or cage fish farming. A fish farmer using a cage system can realize 48 metric tons per annum, whereas Let me repeat. A fish farmer using a cage system can realize 48 metric tons per annum, 12 times more than from traditional capture fishing. Enforcement of regulations to prevent overfishing, to restore fish stocks in lakes and rivers is also required. Your Excellency, I want to thank you very much. We've been monitoring quietly. The people whom we have sent to protect our lakes are doing an excellent job. These measures would almost triple fish exports earnings to $360 million per annum with cage fishing farming compared to $135 million earned today from capture fishing. Madam Speaker and friends and colleagues, using sector-specific approaches and actions that address the challenges for each commodity enterprise, as I have demonstrated for coffee, tea, and fisheries, additional earnings can and should be generated from horticulture, dairy, and beef, grains, and pulses. Tourism now. Tourism has developed very rapidly. Uganda was ranked as the 4th world's best tourist destination, including the best in Africa, by Life Guides last year. Tourist arrival into Uganda have more than doubled to 3 million people in 2015, rising from 540,000 in 2006. Tourism also employs 1.2 million people, both directly and indirectly. Consequently, Uganda is targeting tourist arrivals to increase to 4 million visitors per year, double tourism earnings from US dollars 1.3 billion today to US dollar 2.7 billion in 2020. This will translate significant jobs and, of course, revenue in the treasury. Madam Speaker, there is therefore need to harness this cash cow. In addition to tourism infrastructure development, Uganda will be marketed and promoted as a world-class tourism destination. The source of the Nile will be developed into a tourism site. This will complement the Ugandan Wildlife Authority's acquisition of 3 speed boats to protect our people on the lake, 5 buses, and the development of tourism facilities, including restaurants and shopping areas. In addition, the Uganda Hotel and Tourism Training Institute and the Uganda Wildlife Research and Tourism Institute will be rehabilitated and equipped to build hospitality skills. International standards will also be enhanced with the continued certification of hotels and restaurants. So far, 61 hotels have been star rated. I will later pronounce specific tax incentives that have been passed by Parliament to support private initiative in investment in the tourism sector. Oil, gas, and minerals. Oil and gas, Madam Speaker. As for the oil and gas sector, 98% of the land acquisition for the oil refinery has been completed. Government is in the process of selecting a lead investor to partner with in the development of the oil refinery. Government, in agreement with the government of Tanzania, selected the Hoima-Tanga route as the least cost route to transport Uganda's crude oil to the East African coast. An intergovernmental agreement has just been signed to support the private sector in the development of the oil pipeline. I'm not sure about that. In addition, a total of 9 production licenses have been granted, and further licenses will be granted as soon as assessments are completed to make sure that we have much more oil than we know today. The design for bulk storage of final petroleum products at Buloba has also been completed. In order to facilitate fast oil production, the following related infrastructure development activities will commence next financial year. 1. Construction of the Kabale International Airport in Hoima District. 2. the rehabilitation of Tororo-Pakwach Railway meter gauge line to support delivery of equipment for oil production. 3. Development of Pakwach-Utiaba ferry barge water transport. And 4. Upgrading road infrastructure that I will give you in detail later. Minerals. Madam Speaker and colleagues, during the year, there was significant private investment in the minerals subsector. For example, a gold refinery was set up in Entebbe to refine gold to 99.9% purity. A tin processing plant producing 150 tons of processed tin concentrate per month was established in Chikagati, Isingiro. High-quality marble tiles are being produced in Bugorobi, Kampala. The Sukuru phosphate and seed project in Tororo has mineral reserves totaling 217 million tons, and phosphate and iron ore and other minerals, all that has been discovered, and we are moving steadily. Madam Speaker, the following priority actions in the mineral subsector will be implemented starting next financial year to the medium term. Review the regulatory framework in the minerals sector, promote mineral exploration, development, production and addition, fully equip a modern minerals laboratory for testing the quality of minerals, then register artisan miners and build the capacity of small-scale miners. Electricity now. Madam Speaker, in the electricity subsector, significant development have been registered, with electricity access increasing to 20.4% of households in 2016, compared only to 11% in 2011. Construction works, I will tell you about the cost. Construction works at the Karuma and the Simba hydropower projects are now at 51% and 63% respectively. Construction works are also underway at 12 out of 17 projects under the Global Energy Transfer Feed-in Tariff, abbreviated as GET-FEED program. These include 10 megawatt solar plant, which was commissioned in 2016, and Muvumbe hydropower plant, 6.5 megawatt, commissioned in March 2017. Additional works continue at City, Nkusi, Ruimi, Lubilia, Waki, Nyamwamba, Sindira, and Kiambura. From these projects, 150 megawatt will be commissioned in 2019. Regarding rural electrification, 113 out of 117 districts have been connected to the grid. 474.33 kilometers of medium voltage and 240 kilograms of low voltage lines have been constructed. The remaining 287 out of 1,500 sub-counties will be connected in the medium term. I have allocated 81.8 billion to continue implementation of several power projects. Madam Speaker and colleagues, as a part, now the one who was talking about cost, listen. As a part of the effort to reduce the cost of the electricity, government is engaging the financiers of Jagali hydropower project to refinance its debt. The latest information from the African Development Bank is that the refinancing arrangement should be completed by October 2017. And when this refinancing has been done, we should pull down the rate from 11 cents per kilowatt per unit, and it comes down to about 8 cents. Roads, yes, there is that question of that also. With that, will help to even to bring it lower. Roads, Madam Speaker, the stock of paved roads has increased from 3,317 kilometers in 2011-12 to 4,919 kilometers, just only 1,081 kilometers short of the 2020 NDP2 target of 6,000 kilometers. During the year, Rehabilitation and upgrading of roads was completed under Uganda support of municipal infrastructure development in Arua, in Gulu, in Lira, Mbale, Entebbe, Masaka, Mbarara, and Fort Portal. While progress has been made in upgrading roads, road safety on these roads remains a challenge due to high rates of accidents. This carnage is deplorable, and we should work hard to stop it. And I clearly want to congratulate the police for what they have been doing on the Masaka Highway. Madam Speaker, next financial year, government will continue expansion of the paved national roads network. Additionally, roads will be constructed in support of commercial production of oil by 2020. And the following 10 roads will be upgraded in this respect. Hoima Butiaba Wanseko, Masindi Bisho, Masindi Bugungu, via Matson Falls, Kaseta, Luera, via Bugoma Forest, Hohua, Nyairongo, Chiarusesha, Wanseko Bugungu, Buhimba, Nyarweyo, Kakino, Kakumiro, Mubende Rusalira, Kaibamba, Nkonge, Sembabule, Kiotera Rakai, Kabale, Kizaramfumbi, and 2 bridges, namely Tangi and Emi bridges, will also be built. I have allocated 3,410 billion Uganda shillings for the continued development of national road infrastructure, including ferries and bridges. All the roads that are on the program, as I spoke last financial year, please, they are in the system, we are moving. And I don't have to repeat it here. If the speaker allowed me, I will tell you what is happening on the Kanungu Road, because I am very much in the picture. Madam Speaker, I am pleased to inform the House that the World Bank has lifted the suspension of funding to the road sector, and I thank them for that good gesture. Madam Speaker, government will also increase the maintenance of both the paved and unpaved roads networks. Madam Speaker, government will also increase the maintenance of both paved and unpaved roads. Japanese road equipment units worth US dollars 147 million, which is in Uganda shillings, have been procured for distribution to all districts, and some have arrived already in the country. We shall tell you when we shall be beginning to distribute. The Minister of Works will tell you when we shall begin to distribute them to the country. Some of this equipment will go to the regional maintenance workshops. I have allocated shillings 10 billion specifically for the maintenance of these units. Under the Uganda Road Fund 1, I have allocated 413 billion for road maintenance across the country. Radio transport, Madam Speaker and colleagues, acquisition of the right of way for the Maraba-Kampala standard gauge railway project is progressing very well. We should conclude the financing of the construction of the standard gauge project are also underway. Talks with the Kenya government to ensure the synchronization of the very well. Madam Speaker, in view of the poor performance of the Rift Valley Railway concession, both Kenya and Uganda are terminating that agreement. The management of the Uganda Railway will revert back to Uganda Railways Corporation. Water transport. Madam Speaker, with respect to water transport, the interim master plan for the new Kampala port at Bukasa has been completed, and initial preparatory work will begin in early 2018. The design for remodeling of the port bear on the Jinja Piers has also been completed, with construction due to commence in 2018-19. Commencing next financial year, government will improve maritime transport on Lake Victoria in a partnership with the government of Kenya and Tanzania. with the support of the World Bank. Now we turn to social part of our responsibility, health. Madam Speaker, there has been progress in health outcomes over the last 5 years since 2011. Witness the following. Listen to this. Listen. Listen. Infant mortality declined from 54 to 43 deaths per 1,000 live births. The under 5 child mortality declined from 90 to 64 deaths per 1,000 live births throughout Uganda. Maternal mortality has also declined from 434 to 336 deaths per 100,000 births, respectively. Contributory factors for the decline in maternal mortality include the rise in deliveries in health facilities, which I salute our mamas for doing, which have increased from 57 to 73% of all births. The fertility rate has declined from an average of 6.2 to 5.4 children per woman. Those of you who are worried about the population, you've been talking much about population. Family planning has increased with the share.
Order, members.
Family planning has increased with the share of married women aged 18 to 49 practicing family planning, rising from 30 to 39%. Madam Speaker, improvements with respect to disease burden have also been registered. Hear this. Mass distribution of 24 million long-lasting insecticide-treated nets was undertaken, reducing malaria prevalence from 43 to 49% to 19%. I will repeat this because I know it affects most of our people, including ourselves here. Mass distribution of 24 million of long-lasting insecticide-treated nets was undertaken, reducing malaria prevalence from 42% to 19%. We look forward when it can become zero. Mother-to-child HIV transmission has declined, with the number of new infections dropping from 22,000 in 2012 to 3,400 in 2016. I hope we are also living responsibly. Immunization against the 5 immunizable diseases among children is at 97% coverage. Madam Speaker, in health infrastructure development, good progress also has been registered. Mulago National Referral Hospital extensive reconstruction and equipping into a specialty facility is expected to be completed by August this year, 2017. This project will also include construction of a new 320-bed specialized maternal and neonatal health care, which is due for completion in June, this June, 2017. The construction of Kawempe and Kirudu hospitals was completed, and equipment is ongoing. The Cancer Institute has been reconstructed and re-equipped and is also expected to be fully functional this July. Just a week ago, construction of a specialized international hospital was launched by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, at Lvoa. Should give him a big clap. Enter Sima. Madam Speaker, despite these good milestones, the health system is still inefficient in some critical areas. Drug stockouts and mismatch of supplies to districts faced with specific disease prevalence remains. Cases of short work in health infrastructure provision at district and lower levels are still with us. There is a weak supervision and monitoring as well as absenteeism of health workers at health facilities. I call upon every member of parliament who has got a constituency to be a watchdog on these issues. Let's not leave this only to government. We share responsibility on this. Madam Speaker, next financial year, priority will be placed on the following measures to improve health outcomes and remove inefficiency in health service delivery. 1. Elimination of drug stockouts and increased facility inspection to eradicate negligence of duty, corruption, and poor service delivery at health facilities. And I call upon all of us as members of parliament to participate in this vigorously. 2. Emergency reputation of health units and the eliminate shorter construction work in health infrastructure, especially at the local level, at the local government level. Universalization of access to maternal health through strengthening the community health extension worker, abbreviated as CHOOS. 4. Increased sensitization and awareness of the population to health living, including malnutrition. Madam Speaker, I have allocated 1.8 trillion to the health sector next financial year. Education. Madam Speaker, during the year, the universalization of education has continued with primary school enrollment increasing to 8.8 million pupils in 2016 compared to 8.1 million in 2011. The completion rate at primary education improved by to 61.6% in 2016 compared to 54% in 2010. Secondary school enrollment increased to 1.4 million students in 2016 to 1.3 billion. No, sorry. Secondary school enrollment increased to 1.4 million students in 2016 from 1.3 million in 2011. The completion rate of O-level improved marginally though to 40% in 2015, but from 39% in 2010. During the year, government fulfilled its pledge to increase primary teachers' salaries by 50%. Salaries of both teaching and non-teaching staff across all the public universities were also enhanced, and arrears for non-teaching staff settled. In addition, Lira and Kabale universities were accredited, and civil works at Soroti University will be completed to enable operations to commence next year. In addition, 840 staff were recruited and posted to the 20 technical institutes under the Skilling Uganda program. Madam Speaker, despite this progress, challenges in education still are there, including proficiency in literacy and numeracy. We know it. Skills gap, infrastructure deficits, teachers' absenteeism, and cases of ghost people students that distort budgeting for and release of capitation grants. In order to improve education service delivery, the following interventions should be implemented. 1. Curriculum reform with an emphasis on science, competence, and life skills. 2. Improvement of existing learning facilities at tertiary institutions, including reconstruction of laboratories and workshops. 3. Certification of non-formal training to enable acquisition of practical skills for youth without formal education. 4. Establishment of 12 seed secondary schools in sub-counties which lack these schools, for which I have provided 8.56 billion Uganda shillings. 5. Rehabilitation of dilapidated primary schools and traditional secondary schools, for which I have provided shillings 15.23 billion. 6. Installation of lightning arresters for 140 schools in the most lightning-prone districts, namely Mubende, Sembabule, Bushenyi, Ulwengo, Bukoma Nsimbi, and Lyantonde. 7. Usage of national identification to eliminate ghost students. Madam Speaker, an addition of 19.6 billion has been provided for salary enhancement of teaching and non-teaching staff at all. I have allocated a total of 2.5 trillion for the education and sports sector. Water, environment, and sanitation. I'm about to finish. Madam Speaker, during the year, access to safe water nationwide marginally improved, with rural coverage improving to 68% in 2016 from 67% in 2015. Urban safe access also improved from 74.5% in 2016 from 73% in 2015. However, these access rates are still below the NDP2 target of 100% by 2020. Furthermore, access to hand-washing facilities remains significantly below the national target of 50% and is a major cause of preventable diseases such as diarrhea and dysentery. Functionality of sanitation facilities are also has declined from 92% in the previous year to 90% in 2016. Critical aspects that the government plans to address include improving functionality of water and sanitation facilities. Madam Speaker, next financial year, government will complete construction of Nakiwo and Kinawataka sewers and the Kinawataka pre-treatment and pumping system. Construction of the Katosi water treatment plant will also start. I have allocated 632 billion to the water and environmental sector. Social empowerment programs. Madam Speaker, during the year, government disbursed shillings 75.4 billion to 10,321 projects under the Youth Livelihood Program for the benefit of 130,306 youth, 45% of who are female. In addition, the Uganda Government Entrepreneurship Program was rolled out. In addition, the youth, I'm coming for the youth. The Uganda Women Entrepreneurship Program was rolled out in Kitgum, Kole, Otuke, Koboko, Nepi, Kayunga, Nakasongola, Wakiso, Mayuge, Kaliro, Kamuli, Karangara, Bundigwigo, Kiruhura, Kisoro, Ntungamu, Kibale, Moroto, and Katakwi, as well as Kampala City. As a result, 24 billion was disbursed to 2,340 women groups with 29,762 As a result, shillings 24 billion was disbursed to 2,340 women groups with 29,762 beneficiaries to start or expand projects, in addition to the provision of skills training to improve management of their businesses. In addition, 143,268 senior citizens in 40 districts have received our shillings of 25,000 monthly grant under the Social Assistance Grant Empowerment called SAGE, the pilot program of which 59.6% are female. Madam Speaker, next financial year, I have allocated shillings 67 billion to finance 5,700 youth projects to benefit 68,400 youth under the Youth Livelihood Program. I have also allocated 40.6 billion to target about 22,000 women groups specifically meant to develop their business management skills, access to appropriate technology for value addition, and promotion of market access for their products and services. Improving governance, Madam Speaker. In the justice sector, in the justice system, 98% of the infrastructure to be built under the justice sector strategic plan have been completed and will be commissioned by December 2017. In addition, access to justice for juveniles has improved, with juvenile cases being fast-tracked and 71% receiving non-custodial sentences. In the next year, 120,000 cases are targeted for disposal, for which 18 billion shillings has been allocated. Under the case backlog reduction strategy, 28,000 backlog cases will be disposed of in the next 3 years, for which shillings 90 billion has been provided. An automated case management system will be designed and developed to enhance efficiency in case management. 4 justice law and order service points, one-stop centers covering court, DPP, police, prison services will be constructed in Weju, Nakaseke, Mayuge, Butambara. Construction of the Kitalia prison will also be fast-tracked. I have provided 12 billion for this construction. Madam Speaker, and dear colleagues, national identification has progressed very successfully, with 16.9 million citizens being registered, 14.8 million of who have been issued with national identification cards, and this is critical in facilitating efficient delivery of public service and public and private services, including financial services, mobile banking, social safety nets, and revenue collection, among others. Next financial year, registration of all citizens below 18 years and aliens legally resident in the country will be undertaken in order to support service delivery and enhance our national security. Water. Not me. Nchali Mboko. In order to improve efficiency and accountability in visa and work permit issuance during the year, government launched online e-visa and e-permit system to improve convenience for investors, tourists, students, and other travelers. Monthly visa applications have now increased to 7,000 from 4,000 applicants. Biometric facilities are now available at 6 borders of Busia, Malaba, Mutukulu, Elegu, Chanika, and Entebbe International Airport, in addition to 15 Ugandan missions, namely Washington, D.C., Ottawa, London, Berlin, Paris, Addis Ababa, Abuja, Pretoria, New Delhi, Beijing, Guangzhou, Ankara, Canberra, and Mogadishu. Those who like code to permit confiscation of properties acquired through corruption. In order to eliminate, let me repeat, government amended the leadership code to permit confiscation of properties acquired through corruption. In order to eliminate corruption in the public offices, the Inspectorate of Government has established a directorate to specifically handle high-profile corruption cases which require high specialized knowledge, skills, and tools to investigate. These will mainly focus on high-profile and syndicated corruption cases in the transport and infrastructure, education, health, and agriculture sectors. Enforcement of the leadership code has been strengthened with the adoption of online wealth declaration system to ease the process of declaration and analysis. The Financial Intelligence Authority has also been strengthened to adequately enforce the anti-money laundering law and regulations and counter-terrorism financing in collaboration with international financial intelligence authorities. Financial year 2017-18 revenue and expenditure framework, our domestic revenue mobilization. Madam Speaker and colleagues, at only 13.8% of GDP, our tax revenue effort is very low and inadequate to finance our development needs. Government will therefore boost domestic revenue, tax revenue in order to increase the financing of budget from domestic tax revenues. Accordingly, the Uganda Revenue Authority has been allocated an additional 90 billion to enforce compliance. The non-tax revenue and appropriation in aid present a very good potential of financing our budget. In view of this, all non-tax revenue and appropriation in aid shall henceforth be collected by the Uganda Revenue Authority and be remitted directly to the Constitution Fund, to the Consolidated Fund, in accordance with the 2015 Public Finance Management Act. This will utilize URA's more efficient tax collection systems. The collection of these resources the allocation of these resources to government departments will be done through the national budget and through appropriation by this Honorable House. Revenue performance, Madam Speaker. The revenue performance this year has been subdued as a result of slow economic growth. Tax collections for the financial year now ending are projected to amount to 12,000 billion 882.3 billion against a budget figure of 13,259.32 billion, reflecting a shortfall of 377.05 billion. The shortfall has been caused by declining import volumes, which grew marginally by only 0.079 against the target of 9.1%. This decline is a result mainly of the depreciation of the Uganda shilling. Major tax collection heads reflected this trend with direct taxes on business, employment, and property incomes, registering a shortfall of 96.04 billion shillings by April this year. Despite the tax collection shortfalls I have just mentioned, this year's revenue performance, however, represents a 13.6% increase over the previous year. Madam Speaker, in the forthcoming year and the medium term, government's revenue mobilization strategy will focus on enhancing tax administration by building a compliance culture. Tax administration will be enhanced through taxpayer education, strengthening the detection of non-compliant taxpayers, the recovery of tax arrears, and combating smuggling, under valuation and under declaration. Even Kasaija can get a little bit of a cold. The automation of online assessment and electronic tackling of transit goods. The automation of online assessment and electronic...
Order, please.
The automation of online assessment and electronic tracking of transit goods from Mombasa are also ongoing. Customer data will be synchronized with the domestic tax revenue. Income tax, Madam Speaker, the Income Tax Act has been amended as follows. I'll run it quickly through. As an incentive for businesses to invest up country, deductions for accelerated depreciation have been introduced. This will allow recovery of costs of acquiring plant and machinery and the construction of industrial buildings much faster before the payment of corporate income tax. 2, to improve compliance in retail income, I will issue a minimum rental charges based on location and the value of properties as basis for rental tax for non-compliant taxpayers. I appeal to all rental income taxpayers to file their returns accurately and on time to avoid paying tax on estimated income and penalties. The Bujagali Energy Limited has been exempted from corporate tax, income tax, as a part of the effort to reduce the cost of power. The income of a body established by the Act of Parliament to regulate the conduct of professionals, such as the Institute of Certified Public Accounts and Uganda and the Uganda Law Society, has also been exempted. The interest on outstanding tax and the penalty tax has been limited to principal amount to enhance tax compliance. This measure will also apply to interest due as at 30th June this year. The income of savings and credit cooperative societies is exempted to promote savings. Value added tax. Madam Speaker, the Value Added Tax Act has been amended as follows. VAT payable on taxable supply made to government, departments and agencies by a contractor executing an aid-funded project will be deemed to have been paid. This will avoid unwarranted delays in execution of such projects hitherto caused by lack of counterpart funding. VAT on crop extension services, animal feeds, premixes, deep cycle batteries and composite lanterns, irrigation works, sprinklers, and ready-to-use drip lines has now been exempted. Interest on outstanding VAT and the penal tax is also limited to principal amounts similar to the Income Tax Act. Excise duty. Madam Speaker, the Excise Duty Act has been amended to introduce specific rates equivalent to the current ad valorem rates on beer and soft drinks. This will ease administration and reduce time and money spent in disputes, including the determination of taxable value. Tax Procedure Code. Madam Speaker, persons who, upon request by the Commission, fail to provide records in respect of transfer pricing within 30 days after the request will now be liable to a penal tax equivalent to 50 million shillings. This measure will support tax administration to enforce tax compliance on international transactions. Manufacturers and importers of goods that will statutorily prescribe, manufacturers and importers of goods that I will statutorily prescribe will henceforth be required to affix tax stamps. Tax stamps minimize under declaration of such goods and boost tax collection. Failure to affix tax stamps, the defacing of stamps, the possession of unstamped goods, or any attempt to acquire or sell stamps without authorization will lead to a penalty as prescribed by the law. Madam Speaker, revenue enhancement measures for local government. The electronic business registration and revenue collection system was piloted in Entebbe, Hira, and Jinja municipalities with great success. This system will be rolled out to 34 other municipalities to improve local government financing and access to information on revenue collection in real times. Now, our resource envelope. Madam Speaker, the resource envelope for financial year 2017-18 amounts to 29.008 billion or 29 trillion.008, detailed as below. Domestic revenue amounting to shillings to 15,000 billion, 62, of which 14 billion 684 will be collected by URA as tax revenue, and the rest will be collected as non-tax revenue. Domestic borrowing is going to amount to 954 billion. The petroleum fund resource earmarked for the oil roads development amounting to 125.28 billion. Budget support amounting to only 34.95 billion. External financing for projects amounting to shillings 7,075.4 billion, of which 5,476 billion is in loans and 1,599 billion in grants. Appropriation in aid collected by government department amount to shillings 757 billion. Domestic debt refinancing will amount to shillings 4,998 billion. Madam Speaker, total domestic resources will finance 75.5% of our next year's budget. Okay, I'm sorry if I misread it. Expenditure framework, Madam Speaker, of the total budget approved by Parliament for financial 17-18 has been allocated as follows. 3.577 trillion has been allocated to salaries and wages. 8 trillion, 0.325 to non-wage expenditure. 11.349 trillion has been allocated to development expenditure, of which 4.273 trillion is funded by government of Uganda and 7.735 trillion from external financing. Domestic debt refinancing amount to 4.9 trillion and appropriation aid to 757 billion. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, with the peace, and I repeat this, with the peace and security that has been guaranteed across the country, with availability of reliable electricity and improved roads network and infrastructure development, the economy is set to grow by leaps and bounds. However, to attain the middle income goal we have set ourselves, business cannot remain as usual. I wish to underscore government's commitment to decisively deal with laxity and corruption in the public service. I apologize to this country and the development partners in this regard for the bad image occasioned by an unfortunate incident in my ministry where some officials allegedly demanded and received bribes from an investor. I do not condone this practice. Listen to me.
Order members.
I do not condone this practice, and I will not at my age. Resigning is not an answer. You should be telling me, Minister, work harder, get them out. Indeed, I condemn it in the strongest possible terms. If you resign, you are a coward. This notwithstanding, I wish to commend my colleagues, the ministers in the ministry, and the technical staff of my ministry, and associated institutions for their unwavering support in the economic management and implementation of the PFM reforms. This has made our economy resilient and saved this country from financial loss. Madam Speaker, mindsets and attitudes of all Ugandans must change towards hard work and not wait for handouts. Handshake with an appreciation for a job well done. All able-bodied Ugandans must engage in productive economic activities. The budget presents opportunities for agricultural production and industrialization along the value chain, which must be exploited to increase household incomes. Implementation of government, personal, business targets must be accomplished in a timely manner. To the business community, the budget carries a special promise which will help you to acquire more wealth. To the youth and women, the budget provides opportunities to unleash your potential to initiate and expand businesses, enterprises for the shared prosperity. With these many words, Madam Speaker, now I beg to submit. Thank you for governing my country.
Thank you very, very much, Minister of Finance, for carrying out your assignment on behalf of the President. Your Excellency and distinguished guests, members of the House, under Article 155(1) of the Constitution, the obligation of presenting the national budget to Parliament lies with the President. But as you have just seen, his delegate delivered the budget on his behalf, but ultimately the ownership of the budget is with the Minister of Finance, substantively, who is the President. So since we've heard from the Minister, we shall now be given an opportunity to hear from the President, who may want to elaborate on the rationale for the proposals in the budget. But before I invite him, honourable members, I want to draw your attention to the provisions of Article 98(1) of the Constitution. It provides that the President shall be the head of state, the head of government, commander-in-chief, and the fountain of honor. I also wish to draw your attention to Rule 10, Sub-Rule 4 of the Rules of Procedure, which provide that while the President occupies the chair of state in the House, he may make a presidential statement which shall be heard in silence and not followed by any comments or questions. Honourable members, we do not lose anything by listening to the head of state. In any case, we have an opportunity to disagree with his statement during the allotted time for debate on the state of the nation. So let me now invite His Excellency to make remarks on the budget. Your Excellency.
Thank you so much. His Excellency the Vice President, the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament, and all the distinguished persons who are here. You heard the Minister of Finance reading the budget. My comments are only to wrap up. I've been reading the papers, giving a pessimistic view of the economy. Of course, the Bible says it also. It says they have eyes, but they don't see. They have ears, but they don't hear. Now, I am very optimistic. I'm very optimistic because for the first time, we have got the base which we did not have before. Number one, the Minister of Finance talked about it, peace. That one is there. The peace is there. As I told you, and nobody has got the capacity to disturb it. The lawlessness which had come up will be addressed. It's not such a big challenge. So that is a factor that is important for growth and transformation. Electricity. I don't know, those who comment, I don't really think they care to study much. In 1986, we had only 60 megawatts at Jinja. Now, we have more than 2,000 megawatts. When all these projects are finished, the only little problem remaining is that the power of Jagari is still expensive. But we are working on that to refinance Bujagari with cheaper money, and the electricity will come down, especially for manufacturing, but even for other users. So that is a second element in the new base, which we didn't have before. We have now, because of the decisions you made in the past, we have now many new roads. The other day I had an investor who came from UK and went up country. When they came back, they were very excited. They said, in Africa we have not seen such a good road. That they were asleep all the way from where they were coming. Now, the fourth element is the railway. We are preparing for the building of the standard gauge railway. However, we are also going to repair the old line. You heard that we are going to repair the old line up to Gulu and up to Pakwach. And it is that railway which will carry equipment to the Rekalbat, and we shall use it to transport equipment along the Albert to the oil fields. Now, if you know the map of Uganda, once you get by rail to Pakwach, then you have got another God-made highway, Lake Albert and the Nile, which can take you all the way up to Ntoroko. So you can actually go from Mombasa by rail and water all the way to Fort Portal almost, because of the railway and then the waterway. And then by Lake Victoria, you can go all the way to Nshungezi, because you cross Lake Victoria, you go into the Kagera, and the Kagera is navigable all the way up to Nshungezi, about 30 miles short of the Rwanda border. So this rail water transport will do a lot to lower the costs of transport as far as the economy is concerned. The other issue which the minister talked about was the cost of money, the interest rates. I cannot guarantee lowering the interest rates for the traders. Those can continue suffering. I have no problem with that. However, what I am working towards is to lower interest rates for the manufacturers and for the farmers. I am a farmer and I'm not a foreigner. My clan, I am a Msita, it's well known. So the borrowing for the farmers, for agriculture, and for manufacturing will go down. You heard the minister saying that he will put 50 billion this year, and the next financial he will put 250 billion. So that's another base. Then agriculture. Through Operation Wealth Creation, the people who are used to harvesting things they didn't plant don't know that failing is part of succeeding. I attacked Kabamba 2-3 times and I failed, and I succeeded on the fourth one. If you don't know that failing is part of success, then I would advise you to go back to school of life. By trying, whether we succeed or not, we learn from our mistakes, and we shall continue trying, and we shall succeed. 31 years, that's why you were sitting here enjoying the money of the And that's why you can sit here and you heckle the president and you remain in your seat. The Operation Wealth Creation will continue. We are attacking something which you should be attacking. We are attacking what we call in Luo pour Mecham Pekene.
Order, honourable members.
If you think that is a Nyankole, you should go to Butabika. This is a law statement which means agriculture for only the stomach, for only eating, for only eating. Now, if you don't know law, keep quiet. If you think it is Nyankole, go and book at Butabika so that they can help you. So we are going to struggle with the subsistence farming. People must graduate from subsistence farming to food security and agriculture for money. You go to the wealth creation schools, they will help you. But for the commercial farmers, you heard the minister saying, while the Operation Wealth Creation are fighting with the poor for charm only, agriculture for eating only, the minister is providing money for the commercial farmers to borrow and expand their agriculture. Now, another factor which was not there before is that we have a much more educated population. And you, the leaders, I would advise you to pay attention to this. The literacy rate is now 75%. This was never the case before. These educated people, even though many of them did courses which cannot easily get jobs, social work, I don't know what, those courses, but they are educated. They can easily join the entrepreneurial class. For us in the army and the police, we have already benefited from them. When you recruit them, they are very easy to train, they are very easy to guide because of education. I would therefore like to use this opportunity. They can show you some videos of the young girls and boys. okumenyekera obwereere nensomesa kawukumi nayingira.
Go to the other. These people may faint who don't like NRM.
Amanya gange nze Farida Mayanja nga nze project coordinator wa program eno. I coordinate this program with State House. Kakati program eno twatandika ne registration nga tukola registration ku baana abawala ba school dropout.
Go to the activities.
Some people may collapse because of I don't want to cause accident here. No, very good.
Twatandika okuregisteringa, turn up was overwhelming. Naye nga tulina limited number gye tusobola okukola ki okwaccommodatinga wano. Wane Wandegera we tulinawo courses ez'enjawulo nga tailoring, embroidery, knitting, hairdressing ne shoemaking. Abaana abasinga betandira nnyo mu byenviiri ne tailoring. Abaana abaalo manyi baagala nnyo by'okwedesigninga. Muzana basinga okugenda mu ngoye ne gundi. Amasweta bagayize, in fact kati bakolera ddala esweta mu bbanga ettono lw'akamala wano kuba katuwezeza emyezi nga 2. Tulina abasomesa bali 14 ne support staff y'abantu nga 4.
I thank the management to organize this occasion to help us meet and share with you, Mr. President. However, Mr. President, what are we up to after here?
Kanwalo akana kagezi akogedde wano. Kagambye nti bwe tunaava wano ekinada ku kiki. N'olwekyo mmwe ab'emigaati bwe mumala oba bana b'engoye eri mu bitundu byammwe gye muva nyinza okubagulira ebyuma by'okukozesa n'okubooleza akasente akatono Thank you. So, you want the shoes? You just wait. Then, my advice to since you are leaders, is that the NRM has already created a very good base for you. These educated people, these literate children, I call them my grandchildren, they are very easy to convert. The problem you have is that you have got two problems. First of all, these children do not have property, because normally the property belongs to the parents, and the children don't have anything until the parents die. And many of the families don't know how to organize family companies where the young ones work with the parents. Many of the young ones go and try to, and some of them of course are orphans, some of them don't have parents. But they are educated. The NRM has educated them. Secondly, they don't have jobs. So they are propertyless, they are jobless. Now, we can easily, if we work together, we can easily convert them to property owners and job creators. What those children were asking me was, after you train us, what is going to happen to us? I said, I will give you equipment to start whatever you have studied. This 29 trillion budget, which you have read here, quite a bit of it will go for salaries. There are people who get high salaries. Some of it will go for travel. Will go for travel abroad. Some of it will go for all sorts of things. But please, as the State House is the one doing all that, that is all State House money. I appeal to you. When I was talking to you the other day, I gave you the figures. In Zambia, I used 330-something million. In Nigeria, I used, I think, also 300 and something. In Katwe, something like that. You will see them in my State of the Nation address. Now the question is, if I can do that much with that little money, how about this huge budget of 29 trillion? Why don't we discipline ourselves, be a bit humble? Yes, I did this in spite of the arrears. I did this one. So my strategy for those who want to follow me is to turn these children from propertyless, jobless, to property owners, wealth creators, and job creators. And it can be done easily because now they are educated. If you don't want to do it, I will do it without your support, but I will try it. So, now we have abundant raw materials. These raw materials we are using, they are ours. Leather. We produce so much leather, it is taken out. Other people make shoes out of it. We come back and buy here. Purchasing power. We have got purchasing power. This purchasing power, we are misusing it. We are buying other people's products. Our own children have no jobs, have no wealth. We are sending money. I'm glad the Speaker allowed me to come dressed the way I am now. Bring my sandals. I would have come in my sandals if the trousers was not too long so that I would step on them. Ita huyu mtoto alete vitu yangu. I don't know to you my trousers, my sandals. Oh, but that will be okulamira. I cannot okulamira a bad child. Okulamira is to give inheritance to. You don't give inheritance to a badly behaved child. The uniform I'm putting on is all Ugandan made. The only foreign thing is this one, this beret. I don't know why these people have not started making it. The boots. This one.
Order, please.
This one is all Uganda made. It is 33% cotton, which is Uganda, 65% polyester, which we are still getting from out, because we don't have, when our oil starts coming out, we shall also make the polyester. But the labor is all ours. This one here, this one is also wholly made in Uganda, although the polyester here is still coming from outside, and they also put in something which they got from Indonesia. I don't know, they say something, another fiber, which makes it strong. There's no cotton here, it is something else. But it is made here, the labor is here. I would have come here in my jungle hat, which is totally Uganda made, but because there's no sunshine, I decided to use the beret. But this one is even better. This actually was designed by me. As you can see, being a bushman, I know the dangers to the bush person. The mosquitoes biting your ears, biting your neck. So this one protects me from the sun, from the mosquitoes, I designed it myself, this one. The shoes are so many, there are so many here. Yes. We'll bring this one here. I lay on table. The boy who designed this for me is a soldier whom I helped with a total of 132 million shillings to start this operation. And because the people who are asking for the shoes are bad-mannered, I can look for a disciplined Abiriga. So therefore,
Order, please. Order, members.
Today I spoke with the boys who are making these shoes. They now have some issue. The leather factory in Jinja is not producing enough leather, so they are importing leather from Kenya. Leather. From Kenya, which costs 6,000 shillings per square foot or something like that. Yet the one of Jinja is only 4,700. It is cheaper. So, Honorable Minister, please make sure that we get enough leather. Working with the leather processors, these children will invade the leather industry and liberate us from imports. Then we go to the textiles, we go to all these things of common use, what they call the light industry. This human resource is very easy to convert. Instead of saying that they should go abroad to work as house girls and house boys and so on, this is a wastage. These children, they are educated, there's nothing they don't know. All they lack is some training and some little machinery and some little working capital. That's all they need. I have already done many experiments. There are groups whom I said, okay, let me help you to run maize mills. And they agreed. They now have a huge operation in Wobblands there, doing maize milling. Now, why do we export our grain and process when these children of ours can do that job for us? So that we get more money from our maize, but also give jobs for our people. Anything you can think of, fruit processing. Very soon I'll get them involved in manufacturing transformers and other electrical appliances. That's why we must make sure that Kirembe processes the copper to the right level. The group who was there were not serious, and we are going to throw them out. They were selected by somebody who had a problem. But we have got other investors. So therefore, our purchasing power, our ability to buy, we are squandering it. We should use it to build ourselves up, not to enrich others. Or see how the way you are dressed, the suits, what, all that is money going to other people. That is money, that is jobs given to other people. These carpets, look at these carpets. Our children should make these carpets. Yes, we can trade with others. Of course, whatever we do, we must do economically. It must be the one which is economically viable. But let's see how much of all this we can do economically. Then what we cannot do economically, then we let others do it. But now there is a lot of wastage, and we are really making a very big mistake. We have the regional market, our partners in the region, They can buy from us, we can buy from them. For a long time, we have been supporting the prosperity of Kenya, buying so many things from Kenya. I used to go in the 1950s. Yes, that's why living long is good. And I want to advise these young people of mine. Something they call Nyeko is very bad. Nyeko means jealous. So some of these people are suffering from Nyeko. When they see somebody who has lived long, why has he lived long? When they say somebody has been in the government for a long time, why has he? That's Nyeko. Stop this Nyeko. So, in the 1950s, whenever I would go to the shops at Ntungamo, at Mbarara, the only clean thing you could buy for drinking was either tea in the hotels or soda. This called Coca-Cola, Fanta. But by 1964, we started getting milk from Kenya, processed milk. It was called KCC, Kenya something. So I was no longer buying soda. Whenever I go to town, I buy a half liter of KCC milk. Then later on they brought milk which was long life, which could stay for long. So since that time we have been supporting the economy of Kenya, buying Kenyan things, butter, what. Now it is high time they also buy more and more from us. So the region is there and we can produce for them. In the I think Minister needs to clarify one paragraph of his where he was talking of the target to produce more coffee. We are targeting 9 million bags, 12 million bags, and he was making estimates about that, what we shall earn. But this is assuming you sell the coffee unprocessed, the figure you are giving.
Yeah, yes, sir, that's right.
It was assuming selling the coffee unprocessed. But we are ending this. The factory in Namanve, which you talked about, which will process 26,000 tons in a year. This is in Namanve. Bugorobi, we are using it for another thing now. We call this change of use, change of land use. If you have not heard that term, now you hear it for the first time. So you hear this factory will process 26,000 tons of our coffee. So, and the money that coffee will earn is not the money we are talking about, the money of raw beans. It will be money of added value. So you should revise those figures, because we have that investor in Namanve. We have got others who have come. Another one will be in Bukarasa. Another one will be in. There are a number of them. They are flocking in. With the electricity, the investors are flocking in. The minister also when he was talking on tourism, I think he forgot to bring out one factor. We are going to revive our airline. The tourism which has been coming here would be more if we had direct flights. This business of going through all these places will have to stop. Now, finally, don't think that we are going to depend on these young children whom we are converting from joblessness, from wealthlessness to wealth and jobs. We are also continuing to attract FDIs, foreign direct investment. We have got the 700 members of UMA, the Murwanas, that group. Want them to expand, but his factory is there. That's what some of these people don't know. Henry Ford died long ago, but the Ford car is there, and it is even bigger now than when he was alive. You need to help these people. They don't know some of these things. Now you can hear somebody saying that because Murwana died, then UMA stopped. No, he died, but you may find that it is now bigger than when he was alive. That's what business is about. So we are going to attract more FDIs. We are going to, yes, I will go and you will continue. Very good, very good. But the one who will decide when I will go is the Constitution and the people of Uganda, not you. So we are going to...
Order members.
I just enjoy these young people. They want to see how sharp my brain is. And I always handle them. No, you are the one suffering from Nyeko. So now, mobilizing all our young people to go into manufacturing, wealth creation and jobs, attracting FDIs, and expanding the UMA group, Uganda Manufacturers Association. So therefore, in short, I am very optimistic about this economy. What the red paper has been writing about, red paper, bad economy, bad economy, bad economy, bad economy. They have been writing about one aspect. It is true that, yes, we had two problems. One problem was our businessmen who were exporting to South Sudan and Congo. Because of the disturbances there, they had problems. That one is true. Secondly, the drought had some problems, caused problems for the country. But what I was telling you, if you remember the story of Adam and his wife Eve, when they sinned, where it was the serpent which mobilized the wife. And the wife mobilized the husband. But from that time, God in Uganda would say, Yatukolomera. He cast us, I don't know how you say it in English. He put okoromera bachita bacha mu Luzungu to curse. He put a curse on us. NRM has got 80% blessings. That's why it has been in power for so long. He put a curse on us, and we get all these problems. But the job of the human being is to fight against the problems. So if you want to live in a fool's paradise where there are no problems, then you better commit suicide so that you get out of problems. Otherwise, the human being, his job is to struggle with the problems. You will get somebody who gets children and they die. He doesn't give up. He tries again. That's why you hear in our Luo language, you will hear Oto. Oto means somebody who followed children who had died. So if
Order, please.
If we followed the logic of these people, that because we had a problem, therefore, then we would not be having the Oto here. Oto, because to in Acholi means to die. So I think Oto is the one who follows or something like that. The one who follows the children who died. I think Odongo also must be the same. What is Odongo? So,
Order.
All these show you that in life we struggle. Developed countries, forget about Uganda, which is coming from so many problems. Developed countries have problems. Look at the terrorist attacks in London. For them, they have even, for me, I'm looking for cameras. For them, they have them everywhere. But in spite of the cameras, in spite of the equipment, people are dying. We shall get the cameras. You just wait. You just wait. I will come to you. I will come to you. Don't worry. At the right time. I'm always in the kitchen. For you, you are always on the dining table eating. So therefore, this pessimistic approach of saying that because we have had 2 or 3 problems, therefore things are terrible. No. Yes, we have had a problem here, but there is this potential, there is this potential, there is this potential. When I tried to attack Kabamba 2 times and I failed, the Kasese, you should go to the court and give witness. Right, Honorable Speaker, these people are trying to make me break the law of Uganda by going sub judice, into a matter which is sub judice. If you have got any information on Kasese, you know where the court is. Go and give evidence. So, when I tried to attack Kabamba 2 times and I failed, on the 3rd occasion, my question was one: are the guns still there? Because I was trying to capture the guns. Number 1, I failed. Number 2, I failed. But yes, it is true that I was a rebel, but sometimes rebellion pays. Now they are coming to wrong conclusions as usual. In the science of war, we talk of a just war. If you fight an unjust war, you will lose. For me, I was fighting a just war, and that is a subject for another day. But in spite of failing, my question to the people who were doing the work was, are the guns still there? Yes, we have failed, but if the guns are still there, then the situation is good. This should be the approach. Don't be influenced by the panikism of these people who are panicking. Look at the potential, and I've told you that the potential is great. We have got more potential now than ever before. There is nothing that we cannot handle. I thank you.
Your Excellency the President, distinguished guests, members of Parliament, honourable members, you know I've been inviting my colleagues here from the region. They are really in shock that you can heckle a head of state. The Speaker of Somalia told me the other day when we were walking down to the reception that how is this possible that you heckle a head of state? So I think members, we may have to discuss this matter in the House. Yes, this cannot go on. This cannot go on. Secondly, honourable members, I just wanted to compliment what the President has said. Mzee Murana may be dead, but his daughter is now the chair of the Uganda Manufacturers Association. Yes. Yes. Now, we want to thank the President for performing the constitutional duty and delivering the budget and also his comments thereon. There are areas which need to be handled. For instance, I want to remind the Minister of Finance and the Secretary of the Treasury that you are expected to comply with Article 164 of the Constitution and the Public Finance and Accountability Act. You are required to present to Parliament the names of all the accounting officers of the ministries, the institutions, the departments of government for the financial 2017-2018. But of course, when we finish here, you are invited for the reception at the Parliament Gardens where we were on Tuesday. I also want to give notice, honourable members, that the Business Committee will sit on Thursday, 22nd June 2017 at 11 a.m. to consider the program of business for the first meeting of the second session of the 10th Parliament. So, honourable members of the Business Committee, please ensure that you are available for that meeting. I also wish to inform the Parliament that together with the Interparliamentary Union, we have organized a two-day seminar on the implementation of the Convention on Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, the CEDAW. This is a convention ratified by the government of Uganda, and this meeting will buttress the provisions of the Certificate of Gender and Equity Compliance, among others. So, members of Parliament, I hope you have received your invitations. You are expected, a number of selected ministries and development partners. It will take place at Hotel Africana on Wednesday the 14th, Thursday the 15th June 2017, starting at 9 a.m. Your Excellency and other members, on a sad note, I received information this morning of the death of our former colleague, Ambassador Deo Ravita. He served in the NRC, the Constituent Assembly, and the 6th Parliament. He was a member of Parliament for Uganda North and was also our Deputy Minister. He also served in the last session as ambassador to Belgium and to Italy. He passed away last night at Iso Minigava. Information will be given to you about the arrangements for the burial. Honourable members, Nkosi Hospital has organized a marathon to raise funds for construction of an accident emergency unit to take place on the 17th June 2017 at the Equator in Kayabu in Fiji district. I believe because of the accident on that road, this unit will go a long way in helping save lives of travelers on the Kampala-Masaka road. So members are invited, and those who are not able to go may raise their contribution. I want to thank you all for coming, and we shall proceed the parliamentary garden. In the meantime, the House adjourned to Tuesday, 20th June 2017 at 2 p.m. Thank you very much.
Your former pilot, the one who crashed with Naranga in the helicopter accident, she has issues. She has been approaching me, she has issues. In your Kairu? Yeah, in your Kairu.
reading of the financial year 2017-2018 budget a short while ago there at the Victoria Hall at the Kampala Serena Hotel. You have on your screen the President and the First Lady and Speaker of Parliament leaving the Victoria Hall after the reading of the budget, plus of course remarks which he called, His Excellency the President called, concluding remarks or a summary of his remarks on the national budget, outlining of course some of the areas of interest in the next financial year. With me, as mentioned earlier, is a comprehensive panel, high-level panel to help us put this budget into perspective. Joining us, he wasn't here before, so he's just joined us. Keith Kisame is with us now, and shortly I will be engaging him. Keith has joined us as a research fellow at Advocates Coalition for Development and Environment Accord. And we want to quickly delve into this conversation. But I want to start with you, Stephen. I know you will be running very shortly. Stephen, quick reactions to some new measures that we initially did not have with us, but were pronounced by the Minister in this budget, including some interventions, areas of intervention, government intervention, to spur the areas of industrialization, agriculture, tourism. Your quick reactions to that.
Yeah, Morris, thank you very much. Just before I get into the new measures,
yes,
I just want to highlight a few areas where I think the budget fell short of expectations.
Yes.
One key issue that I continuously heard the Minister mentioning is high interest rates.
Yes.
And the whole idea of providing 50 billion capitalization to UDB is aimed to do that.
Yes.
Clearly, this is an economy that is starved of credit. 50 billion is a
drop in the ocean.
Yes. And this, I don't think, will have any impact in terms of reducing interest rates.